I remember the day as if it were etched into my memory with acid. It was our anniversary, 19 years together, 17 of those married. I had planned everything meticulously. Dinner reservations at Bellini's, where we had our first date, a small gift box containing a pair of sapphire earrings that matched her eyes, and a weekend getaway to the coast. But when I came home from work that evening, Claire wasn't getting ready for our night out. She was sitting at our kitchen table, hands folded tightly together, her face ashen. A half-empty glass of red wine stood before her, alongside the nearly empty bottle. "We need to talk, Daniel," she said, her voice so quiet I almost didn't hear her. The words that followed shattered my world with the elegant precision of a wrecking ball. My wife of 17 years, the mother of our 2 children, the woman I had loved since college, had been unfaithful. "I cheated on you," she said, her eyes fixed on the table. "With someone you know very well." The room seemed to tilt on its axis. I gripped the edge of the counter, my knuckles turning white. There was a strange buzzing in my ears as my brain desperately tried to process what I was hearing. "How long?" I managed to ask. 6 months, she whispered. 6 months. Half a year of lies, deception, and betrayal while I remained oblivious, planning anniversary surprises and family vacations. "Who?" I demanded, though part of me didn't want to know. Claire finally looked up at me, her blue eyes swimming with tears. "Mark," she said. "Mark. My business partner. My friend for over 20 years. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. Mark, who had been best man at our wedding. Mark, who had helped me start our company from nothing. Mark, who came to Sunday dinners with his wife Jen and their kids, who vacationed with us in the summers, who had been there for every significant moment of our adult lives. I stumbled to a chair and collapsed into it, my legs no longer capable of supporting me. Why? The question escaped my lips, sounding hollow and distant in my own ears. Claire's shoulders shook with silent sobs. "I don't know. It just happened. We were working late on the charity gala committee, and one thing led to another. I never meant for it to continue. But it did," I finished flatly. "For 6 months. I'm so sorry, Daniel," she pleaded. "It's over now. I ended it 2 weeks ago. I couldn't live with the guilt anymore." I laughed then, a harsh sound devoid of humor. "How considerate of you to grow a conscience." The anniversary dinner reservations came and went. The sapphire earrings remained in my pocket, burning a hole there like a brand of my own foolishness. Our children were at my parents' for the weekend, blissfully unaware that their family was imploding. "Does Jen know?" I asked, thinking of Mark's wife, my friend in her own right. Claire shook her head. "No one knows except us, and now you." The days that followed passed in a fog of disbelief and rage. I moved into the guest bedroom, unable to bear sleeping beside Claire. I called in sick to work, making vague excuses about a stomach virus. The thought of facing Mark, of sitting across from him in meetings and pretending everything was normal, was unbearable. Claire tried to talk to me several times, her voice pleading, her eyes red-rimmed from crying. Each time, I walked away. What was there to say? The foundations of my life had been revealed as sand, washing away beneath my feet with each new revelation. On the 3rd day, I finally called Mark. My hands trembled as I dialed his number, anger coursing through my veins like ice water. "Hey, buddy," he answered cheerfully. "I was just about to call you. We got that Wilson contract. They signed this morning." His normalcy, the casual friendliness in his voice, ignited something primal in me. "I know, Mark," I said, my voice dangerously calm. A beat of silence. "Know what? About you and Claire." The silence stretched, broken only by the sound of his breathing, suddenly rapid and shallow. "Daniel, Save it," I cut him off. "I don't want your excuses or apologies. I want you to look me in the eye. Meet me at Riverside Park in an hour." I hung up before he could respond. Part of me hoped he wouldn't show, that he'd be too cowardly to face me. Another part knew he would come. Guilt and the remnants of our friendship would ensure it. When I arrived at the park, Mark was already there, sitting on a bench overlooking the river. He looked terrible, unshaven and hollow-eyed, as if he hadn't slept in days. "Good," I thought viciously. "I hope you never sleep soundly again." "Daniel," he began as I approached, rising to his feet. I don't know what to say. My fist connected with his jaw before he could finish, the impact reverberating up my arm. Mark stumbled backward, hand flying to his face, but making no move to defend himself. "I deserve that," he said quietly, a trickle of blood at the corner of his mouth. "You deserve a hell of a lot worse," I spat. 19 years, Mark. 19 years I've been with Claire. 15 years we've been friends. And this is how you repay that? "It was a terrible mistake," he said, eyes downcast. "The biggest mistake of my life. If I could take it back." "But you can't," I interrupted. "You can't undo it. You can't give me back my trust in my wife or my best friend." You can't erase the fact that every time I close my eyes, I see you with her. Mark flinched as if I'd struck him again. What are you going to do? He asked quietly. It was the question I'd been asking myself since Claire's confession. What was I going to do? Could our marriage survive this? Could the business? Should I tell Jen? Would the fallout destroy all of our lives? Not just mine and Claire's, but our children's too? I don't know. I admitted finally, the anger momentarily giving way to exhaustion. But I know this. I'm buying you out of the company. I can't work with you anymore. Mark nodded, accepting this without protest. Whatever you want, Daniel. Whatever price you name. I turned to leave, then paused. Does Jen suspect anything? Mark's face crumpled. No. And God help me, I don't want her to find out. I love my wife, Daniel. What happened with Claire was, I don't even know how to explain it. 6 months have passed since that day in the park. 6 months of therapy, individual for me, couples counseling with Claire. 6 months of rebuilding, of asking hard questions, of painful honesty. I bought out Mark's share of the business as planned. He moved his family to Portland, supposedly for a job opportunity, but we all knew the real reason. Jen never found out about the affair, a decision I struggled with but ultimately respected. Why destroy another family when the guilty parties were already punishing themselves more effectively than I ever could? Claire and I, we're still together, though not the same as before. How could we be? Some nights I still wake up reaching for her, only to pull back at the last moment, the ghost of betrayal hovering between us. Other nights, I hold her tightly, afraid of what might happen if I let go. The question people always ask, sometimes directly but usually with their eyes, is, why did you stay? Why not divorce her, start fresh, find someone who hasn't betrayed you? The answer isn't simple. There's our history, 19 years of building a life together, most of it good and true. There are our children, now teenagers, who sense the tension but never knew its source. And there's the uncomfortable truth that marriages are complex, imperfect things, created and maintained by complex, imperfect people. Claire has changed. The affair stripped away her defenses, forced her to confront parts of herself she'd been avoiding. Her insecurities, her tendency to seek validation outside herself, her fear of aging and irrelevance. In therapy, she discovered that her relationship with her father, who had abandoned her mother, had created patterns she unconsciously replicated. None of this excuses what she did, but understanding it helps me see that her betrayal wasn't simply about me, or even about Mark. It was about her own brokenness, which she's now committed to healing. As for me, I've had to face my own uncomfortable truths. How I had gradually checked out of our marriage, burying myself in work and taking Claire for granted. How I'd ignored her attempts to connect, to tell me she was unhappy. How I'd assumed that providing financially was enough, neglecting the emotional intimacy that had once been our strength. Again, this doesn't justify her affair, but it helps me understand the environment in which it became possible. Sometimes, when Claire thinks I'm not looking, I catch her watching me with a mixture of love and regret so profound it takes my breath away. In those moments, I glimpse what we're fighting for, not to restore what was, but to create something new, something stronger because it's been broken and mended. Last week, on a crisp autumn evening, we took a walk along the river where Mark and I had our confrontation. Claire slipped her hand into mine, a tentative gesture she's been making more frequently lately. This time, I didn't pull away. Are we going to make it? She asked softly, her eyes on the water. I considered the question carefully, giving it the weight it deserved. I think so, I replied finally. It won't be easy, and it won't be the same. But I think we can build something real from these ashes. She squeezed my hand, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. Forgiveness, I'm learning, isn't a single moment but a process, a daily choice. Some days it comes easier than others. Some days it doesn't come at all. But I'm trying. We both are. And perhaps that's the most anyone can ask after betrayal. Not that the wound disappears, but that we find the courage to heal despite the scars. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.